Look, before the obvious wave of hate comments comes my way, I'd like to go on record saying that I have very little Star Trek experience. I tried watching the OG series, but it was hard to watch because it can be boring at times. I've watched less than 5% of Next Generation. I didn't see Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Discovery, Picard, or any of the various movies that have been made of the franchise. So I am 100% in the dark about most things Star Trek, so forgive me on that. But with that being said, I feel Lower Decks is a good beginner start for potential new Star Trek fans. And while that is a controversial statement, what Lower Decks does is at least try to be different compared to what the other Star Trek products have done, and that's being comedy driven. And the idea of a heavy sci-fi show like Star Trek branching into a comedic approach is a perfect draw to bring people in. But with that being said, is it any good? Well, my answer to that is both yes and no. First of all, why yes? Well, compared to what I've heard about what the new Trek era of Star Trek has brought in, it's honestly a nice change of pace to get something not so dramatic and angst heavy, and it's just a comedy set in the world of Star Trek. Something I was always curious about how they can accomplish. So from that, you have to check it out to see at least what they can do in terms of a Star Trek comedy. And aside from that, the animation is good at times, and there are some moments where the characters are able to make you laugh, and it really tries its best to bring you into their world as best it can like the previous shows. It also has moments where it's able to poke fun at various Star Trek moments and really not take itself as seriously as the other shows, and instead it just focuses on being its own thing and tries to be good while doing it. So that's the good things about Lower Decks. But what about the bad? Well, the comedy can be hit or miss sometimes, mostly resolving it being in your face and loud at points, but there really can be times where it can be subtle, clever, and good. But you still have to work through the bad comedic moments in order to get to those points, so it's not going to be a good wait. Also, the characters in the show are a tough piece of work. In the episodes of Star Trek that I did see, there was a certain kind of, competence that was present, and that was understandable as they do work on spacecraft exploring the unknown. But in Lower Decks, the personalities are the opposite, and they sometimes come off as incompetent at times, and they can try too hard to make you laugh, which will lead you to not laugh at all, and I hate that when it comes to comedy. I feel the show was able to finally pick up towards the end of the first season and prove itself as a Star Trek show. While not 100% of the time, it's enough to set itself as its own thing and really doesn't affect how you can watch the other stuff. So for my final thoughts on Lower Decks, it's good, but not the greatest thing ever. If you hate the show, I completely understand, but coming off as someone who is not a huge fan of the franchise, Lower Decks is good enough for someone like me to sit through. And I always have this thought in mind with new shows like this: if the first season is bad, there's always a chance the second season will do better. And besides, what would you rather pick in the new Trek era? Discovering Picard, which pulls the franchise in unnecessarily dark and edgy territory, or a show that tries to separate itself from all that and just tries to be its own thing and have fun while doing it?